Hi everyone. So looking on YouTube at sword cutting videos, most of these are done online with katanas, some of them by iaido or other kind of people who actually know what they're doing with the sword. Some people just buy hobbyists, they've bought a sword, either a katana or a long sword or some other kind of weapon, sharp weapon, and they're cutting either tatami mats or water bottles or green bamboo or whatever. But one thing I want to highlight is when you're watching these cutting videos, often what look like really big impressive cuts, where people are taking massive great swings through a target, and maybe they're doing a combo, bam through, bam, bam, hitting it before it drops, back edge cuts, whatever. Often, if you actually look at the movements they're doing when they're cutting a tatami mat or green bamboo, and I have to say many of the Japanese martial arts and Korean martial arts are large perpetrators of this, do it in such large sweeping movements that in actual fencing against an opponent it would be almost useless, because essentially you're giving the opponent too much time to hit you before you're hitting them. So, very simple thing. If we're doing what I would call a number one cut downwards diagonally from the right, if I want to hit someone who's standing in front of me with a number one cut, what I don't do is do a big wind up beforehand and then a big sweeping arcing hand motion, okay? Or maybe lift the hands up before bringing them down. What this does is it tells my opponent that I'm just about to try and hit them. And in the time that I'm doing this or this, about to cut, they can just simply stab me or hit me in the hands as I lead with the hands. This is another thing you see when people are test cutting. You see them leading with the hands instead of leading with the blade. Okay? Whereas if I actually wanted to hit someone who was standing in front of me, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking about doing the most powerful strike, the most powerful cut I could physically do. Instead, what I'm thinking about is actually hitting them before they have a chance to react, okay? And if possible, to hit them before they have a chance to just defend. So my motion is going to be entirely directed straight at the thing I'm hitting. And this is my major issue, is a lot of people when they're test cutting or cutting tatami mats are only thinking about doing impressive large motions that wow the audience, and bear in mind the audience usually doesn't know what they're actually looking at. Whereas when I look at it, I try to view it in fencing terms, and when I'm doing cutting, I try to keep the motions efficient and as minimal as possible. So yes, sometimes you want to do a big cut, you want to practice big cuts, but if you want to practice a big cut from one of these sort of withdrawn positions, when you start to make the cut, don't make lots of useless and unnecessary motions that involve, you know, winding up even further or lifting the hands before bringing them down and all of these sort of things. Think about, I want to hit that target before it can react, and from here everything should be directed forwards and through the target, okay, as cleanly and directly as possible. Thank you.